Let's take a break from our position recaps and talk about some prospects next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Thursday, October 28th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's take a look at the biggest impact prospects for 2022, or at least the ones that we think will have the biggest impact. Bobby Witt, no surprise here, 290 batting average, 33 homers, 29 steals. The strikeouts were much more manageable than what we saw back in spring training. He hits a good amount of fly balls. He's part of an organization that likes to run. Scott, how early do you think we might have to draft him? We just did our full podcast with the Welsh, and he was saying like pick 60 to 75, which seems kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I get it because I do think Witt will be up soon. I think he could potentially crack the opening day roster. And of course, he has a ton of upside, 5 category potential if you're talking about a 5x5 league. So I get that. But, I'm pretty deep into putting together my position by position rankings, which I do before blending them all together in a mixed overall ranking. And I only have Witt 18th at shortstop, which I don't like, but it's such a deep position. I'm not comfortable really moving him ahead of guys like Dansby Swanson and Willy Adames at the moment. So it's going to be hard to get him in my top 75 overall. If that's now shortstop being so deep, maybe just a ton of those guys will end up getting pushed up. But I think about, Bobby Witt versus Jared Kelenic, who of course is already debuted, but they're supposed to have similar upside. In theory, I want to draft Witt ahead of Kelenic, but I have Kelenic 38th in the outfield versus Witt 18th at shortstop. So who's actually going to come out ahead there?
It's a good question, and one that we'll have all offseason to figure out. Adley Rutschman is the catcher prospect for the Baltimore Orioles, 285 batting average, 23 homers, awesome plate discipline this past year, 79 walks to 90 strikeouts in 123 games. Sounds like, maybe a couple of months into the season we see Adley Rutschman, which means, in redraft, I don't know if it'll be worth it to stash him that long. What do you think?
I don't know either. I mean, it depends how deep the league is. It depends one catcher or two. I have him 20th in my redraft rankings at catcher this year, just hoping that he's able to break through soon enough to justify the investment. I mean, obviously, you get beyond that in the catcher rankings, you're not really that concerned about who you're missing out on. So that makes it easier to rank Rutschman that high. But this guy is like as projectable a catcher prospect as there's ever been, probably. Like former number 1 overall pick, but with not with an asterisk, but with a bullet. That's the expression. Former number 1 overall pick with a bullet is Adley Rutschman, because he's just so skilled beyond what you hear, even for the average number 1 overall pick.
Jose Miranda came out of nowhere with the Minnesota Twins this past season. 344 batting average, 30 homers, 32 doubles, a 973 OPS. The problem, we don't really know where he's going to play defensively. So based on what he did offensively, we should see him very early. I mean, maybe even opening day with the Minnesota Twins. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of that. I was kind of surprised given his age and just the kind of numbers he put up between double and triple A, 344 batting average, 973 OPS, plenty of power. I was kind of surprised we didn't see him down the stretch. They're still trying to figuring out where he fits on the diamond long-term, because not really a great defender anywhere. And of course they have Josh Donaldson signed to play third base still. But AL team with some openings because they're in a semi-rebuild stage right now. They could get his bat in the lineup if they were really motivated to. And I think they will be pretty motivated to, if not on opening day, then soon afterwards. So I think Jose Miranda as a late round pick is definitely worth targeting, because he could be an amazing hitter. He could be.
All right, we haven't talked about pitching yet, Scott, so we'll just wrap up with this one. Choose a Shane for next year. Shane BAZ or Shane McClanahan?
Certainly McClanahan's more proven at the major league level, and I think his performance during his rookie season went beyond our expectations. A lot of swing and miss potential, deeper arsenal than maybe we thought he had, and made a lot of progress over the course of the season. I just think Shane BAZ is just an amazing pitching talent. It's between him and Grayson Rodriguez, who the best pitching prospect in baseball is. I'd give BAZ the edge just because of how he performed in the little bit we saw of him at the end of the regular season in the majors. And I suspect he'll have a rotation spot right out of the gate for the Braves. Will they limit his innings? Probably. McClanahan's will be limited to some extent too. But I think BAZ could be one of those pitching prospects who just is, for however long he lasts, is just going to be must start from the jump.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I think I lean with McClanahan just because we've seen so much more of him, but there's no doubt the Rays are very excited about both of these guys. They had Shane BAZ in their rotation in the playoffs, like right away from the jump in the ALDS. So they clearly have very high hopes for him moving forward. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. If you enjoyed the pod, please leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'll be back again on Tuesday morning. Bye-bye.